All right, well, we have somebody joining us now. It wasn't that long. We're dragging them off the street here at the dna13 booth. So this young man is known in the PR industry as a curmudgeon sometimes.
Total curmudgeon.
An expert sometimes. Have a seat, Jack.
Have a seat.
And he is Jack O'Dwyer, and Jack has been covering the public relations industry for 40 years. And at PR Newswire, where I worked for the last 20 years, he was a very honest arbiter of what was going on in the wire service business. And for PRSA, he has also been attending conferences for 40 years. What have you noticed in terms of change of tone and at this conference versus last year, Jack?
Well, the conference to me is the assembly where the 300 delegates from all over the nation meet and enact laws. And the assembly this year, based on my opinion and all the senior members I talked to, took a sharp turn to the right, reactionary. Their leadership tried to insert communications throughout the bylaws.
Instead of public relations?
Plus public relations.
Okay, plus.
Now, the preface said, we are the world's leading communications society. There was no mention at all of PR. Now that got everybody really rankled because I would say half of the 300 people there are accredited, APR, and they treasure that as
part of their brand.
It's like being baptized. I mean,
right.
You're just not going to walk away from that at all.
Right.
So,
and communications could mean that they're a lineman for Verizon phones, right?
I think some of them are. That's right. They're just communications is a very neutral term.
And it's a broad category.
Anything.
Yep.
So, but we have to face the fact that in corporations, communications has been the standard since 1976 when I first did, I was going to do a directory of corporate PR departments, and I soon found that there were no corporate PR departments at all.
They had different brands, stakeholder and shareholder and constituency.
So I called it Directory of Corporate Communications, which we produced for 30 years.
Right.
And then with the web, I no longer could sell that directory.
Right.
Because they could go right on the web.
So you're describing a sharp turn to the right.
To the right.
So specifically, like APR was one of the topics. There was a discussion about potentially requiring APR of all of the chapter leaders and senior directors, right?
No. The requirement was currently that you cannot be an officer or a director without being APR.
Right.
They were going to remove that.
Okay.
But the assembly voted that down.
Okay.
This is sheer orthodoxy at work.
Okay. So, in your view, has that been a change in a board composition of the delegates? Was it more liberal 2 or 3 years ago?
No, the composition of the delegates is still at least half APR, right. And they treasure that. They are not going to walk away from it. The conversations that went on there were that we will fight to the death to preserve PR because that means relations with the public.
Right.
And they are the only people who do that. The advertising people don't do that. The internal communicators don't do that. The marketing people don't do that.
Right.
The only people who listen to the public, who deal with the press, are PR people. They relate to the public.
Right.
And they are going to make a goal line stand there.
I was told that they need the better audio quality by holding the mic. Is that what you're asking for? Okay, so I'm following the directions back in Ottawa about the microphone. We're a startup, Jack, so we can only afford one microphone. Right? You have to realize that. What about the attendees here? Are you noticing the same composition? Is it mostly students versus practitioners, senior versus junior?
There are 1,000 students here, they say. 1,000 students, about 1/3 of the group. And the students are overwhelmingly women.
Right.
I mean, we know that. I mean, 40 years ago it was overwhelmingly male. And what PRSA has done now to keep women, if you have a baby, you can cut your dues in half. Instead of paying $2.25, you pay $115. You can take $110 off during your maternity leave.
Okay.
And they need the money. They are letting anybody come back at the same rate.
There's marketing opportunities there where you can spend that savings with Procter & Gamble, probably. That's a good opportunity. We're being facetious, but in terms of attendance at the sessions and the subject matter, they're building the business case for public relations is the theme for this conference. What's your take on that?
They cannot do that. The only way to do PR is what all corporations say they do. If you do the right thing, you won't even need PR. So the PR of the PR Society is very low level. They have yet to release the Form 990 with their figures in. They didn't report the 6 months figures. It should have been reported in July or August. The reporting is very low level. They won't let me join the PR Society. They won't let me advertise. They're like war against the press.
Right.
They've got to stop behaving that way. The past four presidents have not talked to me.
You've been you've been obviously one of the most vocal critics, and also just someone who takes the time to study the financials. So you're asking for more transparency in the financials, and also the discussion around ethics, though, seems like it was front and center with the opening Arianna Huffington speech and also Wendell Potter. Any surprises there?
Well, Potter, he quit his job because he couldn't look at himself in the mirror in the morning.
Right.
And he says ethics is we should be the corporate conscience. I want PRSA to show a conscience, deal with the press. Okay, now when they did these bylaws revisions, never once did they talk to a chapter in person. It was all done on email, blogs, and teleconferences. Not once did Dave Rickey or Charenson go in front of a chapter and say, what do you think? This is why they were so at odds with what the members were thinking. I don't see them relating to their own public. So they can't do any PR, business case for PR, unless they behave like PR used to be.
Right. Hey, Jack, there's a lot of fragmentation going on now at the conferences themselves. There's this event. Then next week there's the PR Week Next conference. There's also a conference from a group called SNCR, which is the Social Communications Society for New Communications Research, SNCR. And then there's WOMA, the Word of Mouth Marketing Association. Do you think that all of this fragmentation and specialization in the industry is potentially driving this need to change the name from public relations to communications? And is there maybe a better title for it?
Well, I think PR is the only industry whose natural audience is the press. Now, I just heard John Iwata talk at the Yale Club last week, head of IBM Communications. He said the rulers of Twitter and of all the new media are going to be experts. So I'm an expert in PR. PRSA, I've covered it 40 years. There are other experts. They're going to listen to people. The exact words that Iwata said were, they're going to listen to people who know what they're talking about.
So your definition of press then comes into question. Do you consider the user-generated content, the social media, and the citizen journalists to be press?
Yeah, to the extent that they know what they're talking about. And a lot of reporters are now starting blogs, and they may know tech industry, sports industry, celebrities. We're going to be back to the same ball game. You have to deal with experts. And PR people are professionals, like professional boxers. A professional boxer cannot go into a bar and start punching people out. His fists are considered a deadly weapon. He'd go to prison. PR people are communications professionals, should only deal with the press. They want to really be true to their religion. And the experts should deal with other experts. Just like lawyers, it's unethical for a lawyer to go spouting law to a layperson. You have to go to that person's law firm. Lawyers can only talk to each other. I think PR people, I'm a purist. PR people should only talk to the press.
Well, Jack, I think you're an authentic man. You talk the talk and walk the walk, because I have been the victim of your 100-pound fist of a professional.
Okay,
I'm okay. You've got a very strong pen, and you're an expert in this industry, and your viewpoints are valued by many people. And thank you for sitting down and chatting with us. And your version, your take of the press release that was put out by PRSA, is that up on a public website where I can share that, or can we put that on our blog so people can see Jack's take and the society's take?
It's on there. This is on their website.
Okay.
And I urge you to print my story and their 180-degree different story.
And is your story outside the firewall?
My story's on it's the blog, so anybody can get it.
Okay, so it's outside the paywall. Jack, thanks a lot for coming in.
And I'm so glad to see the new Dave.
The new Dave.
You couldn't talk to me at the other.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
I don't blame you.